Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some interesting breaking news that's about to happen in about 40 minutes from now. I am very interested to see what's happening here. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll explain everything. I'll explain everything in due time. But in about 40 minutes from now, a little over 40 minutes, 41 minutes or so, we will be hearing a bombshell of a revelation, a new discovery, and possibly a new substance, a new drug to fight autism. Yeah, you heard me say it. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's not a drill. We now have allegedly something that's really going to rock the world and could even have the cure to autism. I'm not joking. This is the real deal. He said it yesterday. We heard it live. Now we're going to hear more information about this in about 40 minutes from now. That could change the way we look at certain things, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, that's what's going on today. We're going to be listening to a press conference with RFK and Triggity Trump, bruh. We'll be listening to them drop it like it's hot with all this information. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll explain everything in just a minute. But please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, or do. Hit that reaction button if you can, please, ever so kindly. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you follow me on all those things. Follow me on Facebook, though, for sure. Make sure you're following me on Facebook because there's a lot of updates that I'm putting out over there that I'm not talking about in lives or in videos. So make sure you do that, okay? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Go to my other two channels, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there as well, okay? Hit that notification bell down below on all platforms. Set it to all. Check out my Patreon, check out that join button down below. Support the channel if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really good stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. All right. We got to cut through the BS. We got to get straight into this, guys. There is something very interesting going on here, and I got to be completely real with y'all. Well, I'll be real with y'all in a little bit. How's that? Let's get down to the information, okay? First and foremost, I have a poll. I already put up a poll at the top of the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat if you're watching on YouTube, okay? If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, click on it, vote. I want to see if it changes after or during the actual press conference, okay? Because right now you guys are voting. You guys are putting in those votes. I appreciate you guys putting in the votes. 216 so far. But keep it moving, okay? Keep it percolating, okay? Please and thank you. All right? Put in your votes now. You can it can always be subject to change after you hear what they have to say at this press conference. But one thing is for sure, Trump and RFK Jr., they are having a massive press conference today with a huge announcement in a fight against autism. Now, if this information is true, because we have to err on caution, right? We have to err on the side of, they could be telling the truth here. This could be 110% truth. If this is true, this could be a massive breakthrough. This could be a massive breakthrough for all of our kids, the kids that we're bringing into the world and all that. And even the kids that do live on this planet already exist that already do have autism. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. They're saying that there's a connection between Tylenol, pregnancy, and autism. That when pregnant women are taking Tylenol, it could be one of the causes for why we have kids, more kids than ever, as they said, more kids than ever before. Very Trump-ish, Trumpism, okay? Very much a Trumpism. That there's a link between pregnancy, the consumption of Tylenol, pregnant women taking Tylenol, and these kids, these babies being born autistic. Then they also say that there's possibly a substance or a drug that can be used to help battle autism in the kids that are already born and brought into the world right now. Yes, I'm not kidding. There is no joke. This is what they're saying. Okay, this is not like some flash in the pan, some sort of joke. This is the real deal, Holyfield. Okay, real talk, the real deal, Holyfield. Now, here's the thing. Of course, we are waiting for a press conference to happen here in just a second. We got to take a look at this. Hold on. Let me just pull this up. Of course, a press conference is going to be happening very, very shortly from now. Okay. But of course, we got to take a look at this article. I think this is very, very interesting. Okay. Very, 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 very interesting. So President Trump says he has the quote unquote answer to autism and plans to reveal those findings in a highly anticipated report during their afternoon White House event today. Okay. Last I checked. Yep. Today, September 22nd. The report comes after Health and Human Services Secretary RFK, Robert F. Jr., vowed to find the cause of rising autism cases by September of this year. So he's just a few days short, right? He's just a few days short. So I guess he's right on time and is expected to list Tylenol as a possible cause. So remember, this is what Trump said at Charlie Kirk's memorial. During Charlie Kirk's memorial, he said, "We have a huge deal, big announcement about autism," right? He said all of that, right? RFK, huge deal. Tylenol, you wouldn't believe it. Tylenol, right? That's part of it. Then he also said there's another substance or drug that can be used to battle kids who already or people who already have autism. Interesting, right? So he says we're going to have an announcement on autism on Monday. Okay. And of course, he said this on the 20th at a dinner hosted by the Conservative American Cornerstone Institute. I think it's going to be a very important announcement. I think it's going to be one of the most important things that we will do. Yeah. So now, not only is he President Trump, aka ceasefire, bang, bang, he's also going to be President Trump, autism slayer. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. Someone already shorting Tylenol stock, millions made. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Cole, I would not be surprised. Okay. Shoot. I'm just being real. President Trump, autism slayer. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. This is a big, hey, if this is true, this is a first deal. Okay? First deal. Okay? Massively huge. If this is true. Okay? So we got to see for ourselves. We got to see for ourselves what they're going to have to say, what they got to say. Okay? Hey, Pascal, would you calm Harris? I think you're trying to say Kamala Harris, but I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying, real talk. If this is true, then this is amazing. This is massive. If it's not true, then yeah, it's a fugazi. Another thing for us to look left while they go right. You know what I'm saying? He also mentioned the report during a memorial rally yesterday for Charlie Kirk. Okay? Now, I think you're going to find it to be amazing. He said at the memorial rally in Glendale, Arizona. I think we found an answer to autism. So, acetaminophen, I can't say that word. You see it. No, you don't see it. But it's acetaminophen. I don't know how to say it. Tylenol. Okay, we're going to go with the other way of saying it. Tylenol has been long considered the safest option for managing headaches, fever, and other pain during pregnancy. Large surveys have reported that between 40% and 60% of pregnant women use Tylenol or some form of Tylenol at some point during their pregnancy, according to the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine. By 2022, the U.S. autism rate in 8-year-olds was 1 in 31, or 3.2%, up from 2.7% in 2020, 2.27% in 2018. Then it dropped considerably 18 years ago at 0.66% in 2000, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, very interesting, though, that you have such an uptick in autism. But could it be what we've been eating? Could it be what we've been putting in? You know what I'm saying? Could it be what we've been consuming other than just acetaminophen? You know what I'm saying? Aside from Tylenol, could it be other things that we're consuming, putting into our bodies that is causing this to happen? You know how we always sit there and go, man, these kids are just getting bigger and bigger every time. There's something in the water. There's definitely something in the milk. There's too many hormones in the meats and the milk, right? Aren't we always sitting there saying that? Look how many times we're eating McDonald's every single day, going to Kentucky Fried Chicken or any of these other spots. Okay, acetaminophen. Wait. It just went away from me. Acetaminophen? 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 Am I saying that right? Acetaminophen. I'm going to read it just like how Callie wrote it for me. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Okay. There you go. There it is. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Acetaminophen. I'm going to have to keep coming back to, I'm just going to keep that up. Callie Dime. Okay. Let me just leave that up. Okay. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit. Acetaminophen. Okay. So again, or Tylenol, right? And I appreciate it. Real talk. Thank you, Callie Dime. And everybody else who's like, acetaminophen. God, Pascal. God. Well, we got it. Woo! You got me sweating. Okay, but we got it. All right. So I think y'all needed that laugh. Me looking like Boo Boo the Fool. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Acetaminophen. So anyway, this should be a soundbite at this point now. So Kennedy has asserted that the U.S. is in the grip of an autism epidemic. I don't think you remember that he did this. He mentioned this. He stated this at a press conference. I think it was like several weeks back. Okay. He said this several weeks back. He's like, yes, there is a autism epidemic. I don't know if he was saying like red 47 or whatever the hell it's called. You know, the stuff that's in like Twizzlers and basically everything, it seems like. He's like, we got to get rid of all that. It's causing autism. It's doing this, and this, right? Right? So he's still on that, which I understand. There is, if it's correct, if the statistics are correct, there has been quite the uptick. Red 40, that's what I meant. Red 47. I don't know. Passenger 57. Okay. Always bet on black. But if the statistics are correct, yes, there is quite an uptick in autism. For real. And he's saying it's fueled by environmental toxins. Decades of research have not yielded firm answers on what contributes to autism, but many scientists believe genetics, potentially in combination with environmental influences, play a role. They also say the rising incidence of autism could be attributed to increased access to diagnostic tools and improvements in early detection. I honestly think, I really want to say this, okay? And I truly feel that it has something to do with nature. I don't think it has anything to do, well, nature, I'm saying the outside forces. I don't think it has anything to do with what's going on in the mother's belly. I think it's a combination, but I also think that, let's be real, are we the healthiest country in the world? Yeah, I can answer that. No, we are not, okay? We are eating processed crap every day, all day, every day, right? We are constantly, putting in things in our bodies that we should not be eating. We don't go back to the fat of the land. Okay, we just don't. We don't eat off the fat of the land. A lot of things that we consume is processed, overly processed crap. Man, they have already FDA approved genetically lab-grown meat. And I wouldn't be surprised if they've already put that stuff out here in these streets for us to consume for a long time already. And Brenda on Facebook, you're absolutely right. What about the upticks in cancer? It is insane how much cancer has taken over the globe. Think about all the stuff. Everything from the fluoride that's in the water to the hormones that are injected into the meat that we consume, the chickens that we eat, to the point where we are saying free-range chicken eggs, right? Free-range chicken, free-range eggs, grass-fed beef. Isn't that insane, where all of it should be pretty much organic? But we have to go to Whole Foods to get organic stuff, and then they charge you even more for the organic-ish? Ain't that insane? So again, when you think about all of that, all the things that we are consuming on a daily basis, on an everyday, regular basis, that is definitely having some sort of effect on us as humans and our offspring for sure. Now, is it acetaminophen? Is it acetaminophen that's doing that? Tylenol? Is it doing that? Or is it something else? I know some of y'all will say that it, has to do with the pokes, but we can't really talk much about that stuff now, can we? Unfortunately, because these screets, these internet screets don't allow you to say not a damn thing anymore, man. They just don't, especially when it's something like that. Unfortunately, but let's be real. Hold on. Actually, that's a good point. Let's go back to this really quick. Let's look at this number here real quick, right here. Let's take a look at that. Now, this is a rate in 8-year-olds. Okay. By 2022, the US autism rate in 8-year-olds was in 1 in 31. So, or 3.2%, up from 2.77% in 2020. Now, here's the thing. We weren't locked up. We were locked up in 2020. But 8-year-old kids that were getting tested for autism and diagnosed with autism, they were already autistic before the poke came out. You get what I'm saying? So again, it could be a contributing factor. But are we going to hear that from them at all? I doubt it. I don't know if we will. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. It's weird because, back in the day, it was, go get the thing. The pandemic's happening. Go get the poke. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. You know what I mean? And then there was a strange shift from the right. Right? Am I the only one that noticed that? Where it was like, no, don't take it. And then the left was like, no, take it, get it. But then the right was like, oh, no, we're not doing that. It was very left and right. Right? Right? So it is interesting to see something like this popping off right now. But I think it's beyond. It's before, and it could be a contributing factor, but I think it's more than that. Okay? I think it's more than that. I truly think that. But let me get some of these super chats here really quick because people are going, read the super chat. I will. Damn. So Ride Rebellion, thank you so much for the love. Trump talking his politics. Memorial, so gross. Yeah, I didn't like that much at all. It was very much like, we already did a whole conversation about that after the memorial. That was a very long 3 hours, I will be honest. But yeah, I didn't like how he was talking about the political stuff and making an announcement there during when he's supposed to be just talking about how, his relationship with Charlie Kirk, especially when we hear nothing about how much Charlie Kirk admired and loved Trump. You'd think that he would go, let me take this moment to only focus on my time and my experience and my relationship with Charlie Kirk. But that's another conversation in itself. Okay. GMD, thank you so much. All it is, we diagnose different now. That's why. So so we diagnose different. That's why there's a high number in autism. That could very well be it too. I'm assuming you're an MDG, right? Maybe ABC 1, 2, 3. GMD, maybe, but that could very well be it too. That now we have better ways to single it out, figure it out, more foolproof testing to say, okay, yes, your kid is on the spectrum for sure. It may be severe, it may not be as severe, so on and so forth, right? So maybe that could very well be it too. That could be it. Liz Shields, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. And just like Liz, become a member. Hit that join button down below. We got a little over 15 minutes from now until we actually have a press conference from Trump, RFK. I think it's going to be a very interesting one. But like I said, are you feeling it? Do you believe this or no? I mean, because here it is. Before we go to the other super chats, let me just say this. Let me just say this. You realize too much of anything is bad, right? Too many oranges can get you sick too, right? Even though they're good for you, it can also be bad. Anything, too much of anything can be bad for you. So, Tylenol. Couldn't that be the same thing? I don't know. I just feel like there's more to this than just we're going to pinpoint a specific over-the-counter medicine that we take every day, some of us every day, and instantly say that is the leading cause, or that's one of the leading causes of autism in our children when pregnant women take it. It's just something interesting, but let's go on. April, thank you so much. I actually envy my son with autism. He's always so happy. He has no idea how ugly and broken our world is. Well, I mean, yeah. And some kids don't have autism and they're living with wearing rose-colored glasses all day long. You know what I mean? And then reality sits in when they have to do their taxes. But you get what I'm saying. All right. But yes, I guess all of us would like to be able to turn, you know what I mean? Not be completely cognizant of what's going on in the world some days, right? But let's move on. S-Dubs, thank you so much. The only reason it is growing is because it is a spectrum and all the research about it. Hit the like. Yes, hit the like. Thank you so much, S-Dubs. And again, yes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, it's kind of like they're doing more and more studies on cancer every single day. AIDS patients, HIV, other diseases, etc. Autism, other types of things that are going on in our world, right? And I feel like as we continue to get more advanced in medicine, the more we start to figure things out, or the quicker we're able to pinpoint certain symptoms instead of waiting or going through a multitude of tests to find out whether or not someone is autistic or not. I think there's like what we heard from GMD. It's exactly like that. I think that medicine has advanced, science has advanced incredibly, right? And I think that there's something to that. I think that's a heavy factor to all this. Let's move on. Neon, thank you so much. It's worth noting that there are that the more we study diseases and disorders, the easier and recognizable they become. Like I just said a second ago, right? You just said it better. Okay. It could lead to overdiagnosis though. Yeah, it can. It could definitely do that. I've heard plenty of people be wrongfully, just misdiagnosed terribly for a multitude of things, solely because they had, a symptom that was very close to something, right? So I've heard that before a million times before. And then they're running around telling people that they're autistic. And then you find out later, they go, yeah, I found out I'm not autistic. You see what I'm saying? I know people who have said that. I'm dead ass. Grown ass people. I'm not kidding. Grown people. This is not kids. Grown people. Okay? Hardworking, tax-paying individuals that'll sit there, You're in the middle of having dinner, chopping it up with them or something like that. And then out of nowhere, they say, I'm autistic. And you're like, word? Mid-bite, word? You're autistic? Yeah, I just found out. Then 3 months later, they come back. Yeah. Found out I'm not autistic. And that's it. You're like, okay. Misdiagnosed? Yeah. Mm-hmm. How's the steak? And you just move on. Literally, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. But here's the thing though. I feel like there's so many things that are going on. You know, there are so many diagnoses that are out there that people can literally go, "Achoo, I have AIDS." Like it's like that. It's bad. It's bad. You just Google it for 2 seconds and suddenly you have some crazy situation going on, right? You have some strange genetic, I don't know, phenomenon that you can't even pronounce. Okay, you can't even pronounce that. I'm trying to say the word again. Acetaminophen, whatever the hell it's called. Okay, like acetaminophen. Okay, and they're suddenly going, yeah, you know, I got that acetaminophen. You're like, what is that? Yeah, you know, I got this strange growth on my thumb. You know, I thought it was a wart, but I found out it's acetaminophen. And they're like, it's the rarest type of disease, but, you know, I'm fighting it and hashtag acetaminophen strong. I'm sorry, but that's kind of what it is. I got it? Yeah. Yeah, Callie, dime. Bang, bang. Okay? It's kind of like that. You know how it is. You know, some Floating Lotus said a cinnamon bun. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you know what I mean? People like to self-diagnose all the damn time, and it gets frustrating. But then doctors can be wrong, like big time wrong. Your hands are shaking, then they say, oh, that's Parkinson's. So they start drugging you they just start plying you with substances and prescriptions like you have Parkinson's, only to find out that no, you're not. No, you were just like, there was an iron deficiency in your blood, right? You're just low on iron or something crazy like that. You see what I'm saying? There's just too many things out here in the world. I just learned about ADHD. I've never heard of that before until just 2 days ago. Thanks to TikTok, I guess. But I didn't even know that all ADHD, I guess it's autism ADHD, like autism DHD, exists. Didn't know it existed. I really didn't. But see, here's the thing. People look at those things online and then they self-diagnose themselves, right? They go, maybe that's me. Yeah, I do have a problem with such and such, right? I do have a problem with picking up a sock from the middle of the room in my living room. I must have ADHD. That must be it. No, it's just called you're lazy. Okay? It's just called you're lazy. Just bend down. Pick up the sock. And throw it in the mother-loving living room, not the laundry room, or in the mother-loving hamper. That's all you need to do. But now it's like, oh, because I've been stepping over that paper clip that's on the ground. I just keep it there, and I don't know why I don't pick it up. I must have ADHD, not ADHD, ADHD. Didn't know existed until just a few days ago. And even myself, I'm like, does that mean I have? I'm just saying, it's bad out here. It's bad out here. So again, when it comes to our kids, okay, when it comes to the kids, these youngins, I don't know why there's an uptick. We just heard from GMD. He just said, or they just said that it could just be they're able to diagnose or pick out those symptoms a lot easier now. They got a more foolproof type of testing where they can pick these symptoms out very, very quickly and easier now. And that could very well be what it is. Okay? It could very well be what it is. That may be it. Or could it be acetaminophen? Could it? Could it be Tylenol? Could it be the culprit? They might be one day say, yeah, if you eat too many Twizzlers, you could be autistic. In that case, I'm screwed. Because I love Twizzlers. I do. And there's a lot of red 47, red 40. There's a lot of red 40 in them mugs. I'm just saying. A lot of red 40 in them mugs. I know it's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. NB, thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate it. Is this an attempt to go after Tylenol? Follow the money. Yeah, somebody else just said, yeah, they're going to be shorting the Tylenol stocks. And, of course, somebody going to be making millions here in a second. Yeah. Wait for it. It's coming. I have a feeling. Yeah, follow the money. Why would they picked out Tylenol? Do you realize how many other trashy things that we put in our bodies that could be the culprit? Think about it. I swear to God, somebody needs to make this movie. I'm giving you the movie idea, future Steven Spielberg or George Romero. Here it is. Do a movie where the origin of the zombie attack is because people were drinking energy drinks. That's it. Just that. Red Bull, Monster. Don't get me wrong. I like my Monsters. You know what I mean? But do you realize how much chemicals, how many trashy chemicals we're putting in our body on a daily basis? Think about that. I'm telling you right now, movie would be fire. I mean, I would hope it's fire, right? A good movie, premise, there it is. There's so much energy drink consumption out here. Start with that and run with it. Start with that origin story and run with that mug, right? Because of energy drinks. Do you know how much crap we put in our bodies? And they're saying it's Tylenol? I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that the Tylenol that we put in our body is really great for us and everything. I mean, too much of anything is still bad for you, okay? But at the same time, there's so much more that we put in our bodies, guys. So much more, way much more. All right. Travel with Caribbean. Yes, please stop eating garbage. That's it. That's all. Exactly. But it's kind of hard to do that. Travel. It's really hard to do that. There's a lot of crap you can't. You know what I mean? You go and you eat. You want to eat some. It's like, if you go to a restaurant, you're going to have to ask, is this a free ranged steak? Did you just slaughter the lamb in the back before it turned into lamb chops? You know what I mean? If you really think about it. Travel says you ask, oh, you're that person. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, shoot, you might as well. But like I said, the stuff that we buy that's a little bit cheaper than the organic farm range, free range, farm raised, grass fed stuff. I mean, it's cheaper. And there's a lot of people that will go and buy that because they're trying to save money. Understandable. We all are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Despite what Donald Trump Jr. said at the memorial, we are all struggling out here. Life is not that easy. A lot of us don't live in a single earning household, right? All of us are having to do 17 different jobs just to keep the lights on, right? And that's very, very true. So imagine going to the grocery store and you see a steak here that's from the actual store, right? It's cut from the butcher, that kind of thing. You know it's not fully 110% free range. Or you see the thing next to it and it's a steak, same steak, just a drastically different price. Why? Because this one is free-ranged, grass-fed beef. And this one really is not. Which one are you going to pick? 9 times out of 10, you're picking the cheaper one to save money. I think this is more than just Tylenol, y'all. Acetaminophen. I think it's more than acetaminophen. Really. I think it's more than that. I think it's more than Red 40. I think it's more than Tylenol. I think it's more than any of the stuff that they're about to sit there and go, see, if you eat too much ice cream, it gives you a brain freeze. Thus, autism. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, bruh, there's more to this, homie. And if we were all living on farms and farming our own stuff, this may be a different story, right? But no, we don't, right? We all damn city slickers. We pretty much are. Even if you are doing suburbia, okay? Suburbia, okay? Talking on behalf off CK as well. No morals. Yeah, it was bad. It was not that good. It was not good. It was not good. Ride, thank you again. What's the difference between acetaminophen and ibuprofen? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe a different molecule of some sort. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody in the chat knows, or they're going to Google it and go, well, actually, if you look right here, there is it's 3 molecules different from each one. That's the reason why we have acetaminophen and we have ibuprofen. There's a difference. Somebody will tell it. Go ahead. I give you full reign. Do it. My genius friend that's on Google just clacking away. There's the difference right here. That's, if you see the diagram and the CO42 and the such and such, we move it over here and we can see for a fact that it is indeed a molecule or 2 different from each other. Therefore, ibuprofen, acetaminophen. So let's see if they got this thing started. Not yet, but they're going to get started here shortly. Michelle Woods. Hold on, guys. Michelle Woods. Twizzlers taste too close to black licorice. What? You are a liar, and the devil's a lie. Black licorice tastes terrible, but that's just me. Those taste so gross to me. That's fine. That's on you. That's your opinion. You don't have to like what I have to like or what I like. Okay, not like I have to like it, but you know what I'm saying. My God. Is your taste buds on crack? Are they on acid? Because they don't taste like black licorice, y'all. They do not. Okay, but thank you so much for that super chat. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, I gotta listen to something. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We got some breaking news, guys. We got some breaking news. Big deal. No, it has nothing to do with black licorice. The hell? The hell's wrong with y'all? Red licorice tasting like black licorice. No. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds because we do have some breaking news. Okay. Hold on. Woo-wee! Big news. Big freaking news. Big news. Oh my Lord. Well, first off, huge news. I'm trying to find the statement, but I want to make this abundantly clear. Because the people have spoken, Jimmy Kimmel is back on the mother-loving air starting tomorrow. Big freaking deals. Yo, big deals. I'm trying to find the information. This is breaking news. Breaking news. Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air tomorrow. Okay, I'm trying to get it all here. I just heard from a source. I want to make sure that we have the info, and this is a very big deal. Just real quick, this is a big deal because this also shows that the people spoke. There was a massive boycott on Disney, Hulu, and all of them. They felt that in their pocket. Let me just tell you something. And let me tell you something also. This is a perfect example of when we come together as a people in unity to something that we feel is not right, we can be heard when we work together, y'all. And there was a lot of people that got in this situation and started deleting their Hulu, their Disney. Disney stars were refusing to show up to their red carpet events for movies that they're in for Disney. You realize that? Massive deal. Free speech just won today, which I am all for. So, real quick, Jimmy Kimmel's show will return to air 6 days after he was pulled off indefinitely, Disney announces. This is the first time in a very long time I will most likely be watching this show. First time in a very long time that I'm going to be listening to that opening monologue because that is going to be fire. Okay? Trust and believe. Let's take a look at this. All right? So, yeah, the mouse caved in. He's like, oh, you know what I mean? Oh, sugar. You know? Oh, the FCC. Ha-ha. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So, today, the Walt Disney Company issued a statement confirming that the show will return tomorrow. So they said, last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment in our country. Sure. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. So this is what they said, continuing on. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. In other words, I think that they had no grounds to fire him, and his lawyers came up to them and said, hey, yo, hey, baby, hey, yo, heads of ABC, you done mucked up. It says right here in his clauses that he has the right to say what he wants, sweetheart. So put him back on the air or you're going to lose a whole lot of money. Not only just the money from the millions of people that are canceling their subscription, hon. You're going to get a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit from this man right here, from us. Get ready for it. You're going to be seeing our firm in the header. Get ready for it because it's going to be bad. Right? So the episode broadcast of him saying, discussing world events and his opening monologue, which we already know. Okay. Now, he said what he said, whether you like it or not. He said what he mother-loving said. But here's the thing. That's his right. It's his show. Sure, there's certain things that he can't say, but he had an opinion. He wasn't sitting there leaning on any facts. He was putting in his own opinion, and that is it. And that should matter, period. That should matter. We shouldn't be looking at this situation and wagging our finger at the guy, because you know for a fact there are other people on platforms that are saying way worse than him. Real talk, way worse than him. That completely was a slap, a pimp slap to freedom of speech. And they really tried. They were going to the extent of saying, hey, any media, any legacy media that criticizes Trump, that they have an opinion, basically, will be ripped off the air. That's wrong. And that's still something that they could still try to do. But the FCC, that guy, I forgot his name, okay? Brendan Carr. There it is. Brendan Carr. He went on the Benny show, and he said, yeah, we could do this the easy way or we could do this the hard way. Well, guess what? You chose the hard way, baby. That's what happened. You chose the hard way. He didn't. He walked in. He goes, oh, okay, I'm fired. All right. And then the rest of the world said, oh, you thought that was the easy way? Oh, cabron, you have some splaining to do. And then, of course, we're here. Because the likes of Disney stars, movie stars, TV stars, Howard Stern even said this morning, saying, I ain't playing. I'm done. I have no subscription there. And I recommend everybody else who is for freedom of speech to do the same doggone thing. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think? Everyone's going to get their little old school 1920s gangsta on and go, no more subscription here, son. And that's it. See? The subscription now is swimming with the fishes now, see? And I'm happy about it because that's how it should go. Again, all of us got together. We said hail to the no and started a unified front. And for once, it doesn't happen very often, but it did happen where our voices were finally heard. So I'm hoping that tomorrow, Jimmy Kimmel, the other Jimmy, I hope that he, in his opening monologue, it is a big thank you to the public, because without everyone doing what they did, talking about it, reporting it, saying that they're not okay with it, all that, without them doing that, he'd still be without a job. He'd still be sitting down talking to lawyers and trying to find a way to sue the pants off of Sinclair Broadcasting Group. You understand that, right? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does work. Hell yeah. I am with it 110%. Good job, you guys. Good job. Okay. I feel, Callie, that's kind of where I feel like where we are at now. That a comedian can't go onto a comedy show, a comedy late night show. Everybody knows it's a comedy show. And he can't even throw out a joke. Now it feels like you got to say, yeah, exactly. It's like, in my opinion, or allegedly, before you even say the joke or before you even say or state your opinion. I think that's ridiculous. Or you have to have those disclaimers before, during, and after the show, or in the description box down below. Understand that this show is, for fun, and, we're not trying to hurt anybody, blah, blah, blah. This is an opinion-based show, blah, 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 right? We go through all that crap, don't we? You see it on countless shows. It's ridiculous. At some point, some of this stuff got to give. But it's ridiculous, y'all. Thank you, Caribbean. Get some WD-40. Yeah, my door is very, very creaky. It's like a scary movie. You know what I mean? Real talk. I'll get some. I keep on saying, every time I open the door, I'm like, I need to get that done. That is the sock in the middle of the room that I keep stepping over. You see? So it's definitely the Twizzlers. Mo, thank you so much for the love. Jimmy's show is back. I'm sure you just found out right when I found out. So yeah, baby. Yeah. I'm happy about it. Okay. Ride. Thank you so much for the love. My 11-year-old son doesn't believe the guy on the screen was just talking to me. You say hi to River. Sup, River? How you doing, man? How you doing, 11-year-old son named River? Yeah. Ride was talking to me. That is definitely true. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Ain't that crazy? We do live in that world where I'm actually talking to you, River. I hope you're being a good son. You better be a good son. Okay, River? Be a good son. And your parents are right. Don't even ask. Don't ask. They're right. Trust me, it'll make sense later. They're right. But moving on. Yeah, everybody say hi, River, in the chat. Just to show proof positive how live this is, River. Okay? Now people are going to say hi. And hopefully Rebel, okay, got the chat going off on the side. Okay? Yeah, look at that. There's a lot of rivers in there. That's a lot of rivers. Woo! Rough waters with all those rivers. I don't know. That was a really bad dad joke, but I'm allowed to. Okay? There you go. So we're still waiting, just so you guys know. A little bit of a left turn. We are still waiting for the press conference. You know how it is. They're always notoriously late. Okay? They're always notoriously late. Okay? Always notoriously late. So we're still waiting for that. But that is some great freaking mother-loving news. I'm very, very excited about that, guys. Okay? Now you got River going, what's mother-lover? You know what I mean? And it's hard to explain. That's another conversation in itself. One day, River, we'll have a conversation. And I'll explain everything. I don't know. I appreciate you guys putting in all the rivers in there. That's dope. You guys are incredible. But let me play a little bit of this here.
We're expecting what the Trump administration calls a major announcement about autism. There are reports that the administration plans to tie the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy to autism.
Acetaminophen. Nah. Hey, River, say acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Say that to Ride. Say that. I want you to say it. And you, Ride, you better let me know if he's saying it right. River, you better say it right the first time. Don't mess it up, River. Let's go.
But as Natalie Brand reports, doctors are worried about the impacts on expectant mothers.
I think we found an answer to autism.
President Trump has teased what he's calling a major announcement on autism in the U.S.
It's out of control. Autism, out of control.
Earlier this month, the Wall Street Journal reported the administration is expected to suggest acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol taken during pregnancy, and low levels of folate among the potential causes of autism.
The best evidence does not show an association between Tylenol and autism.
CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
The best recent study looked at 2.5 million kids from Sweden. They used sibling comparisons to factor out genetic factors and other factors, and they found no increase in risk in autism, ADHD, or other intellectual disabilities for pregnant women who used Tylenol during pregnancy.
Ahead of the White House announcement, the company that owns Tylenol is pushing back and says it's worried about consumer confusion and the impact on expecting mothers.
So again, it's very interesting that they are trying everything they can, right, to connect certain things like Tylenol. And listen, guys, I am keeping an eye on the press conference. It still hasn't happened yet. I don't know what's going on. I thought that they already had the information. I thought these guys are already properly vetted before walking in, but you never know. It's been a very busy couple days with them traveling and with them being at this memorial service and all that. But nonetheless, this is very, very interesting stuff. Okay. Is there really a connection, or is this just a shot in the dark?
In a statement saying, we believe independent sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. Experts say failing to treat medical conditions that warrant the use of acetaminophen, like a high fever while pregnant, could be far more dangerous.
If you have a high fever during pregnancy, that can cause neurodevelopment issues in the baby. So you don't want to let that fever go untreated.
The Washington Post also reports the Trump administration plans to promote a drug derived from folate called leucovorin as a potential autism treatment. Doctors say there may be evidence it can help a subset of autism patients who have a folate-related defect with speech and communication. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Tylenol
Okay. Oh, hold on.
has long been considered a safe drug for pain relief and fever reduction in pregnant women, since Advil or generic ibuprofen is not recommended.
So that's very interesting. If this is the case, then this, a lid is about to blow off. Real talk, a lid is about to blow off if this is true. But here's the thing, though, too. It's like, yeah, that's the question. It's like, should anyone take it then? Google user 2.5. That's what I'd like to know too. Should you be taking it then? Because on God, I mean, why? I wouldn't want to. You know what I mean? Because if it affects you in some sort of way, could it affect? You know what I'm saying? Could it affect other things? I don't know. Even before, let's just say you're trying to conceive. Could it affect the egg and the sperm? You see what I'm saying? So again, I got a lot of questions. Well, we'll see what happens here. They still are not out. Jeez Louise, what is going on? This is the problem, though. What's going on? Still waiting, but let's hear this.
A major announcement on autism from the White House imminent, and we brought it to you live during our show Saturday night. President Trump announcing he thinks his administration has the answer on the cause of autism, now diagnosed in 1 in every 31 American children. Do
you realize how ballsy it is to say that you go, I have found the cure for autism? You realize that, right? It's pretty ballsy. And you also got to remember, they're apparently saying they're going to be introducing a new medication or a chemical substance that they're saying that is going to be the basically like the end game to autism, to kids with autism right now. Do you realize by sitting there saying that, there's going to be everybody and their mama trying to get their hands on this substance, hoping and praying that it works, and it better mother loving work, because there's going to be a lot of people wanting it to work. You see what? Oh yeah, Lori. Yeah, she said. Wait, what? Yeah, he literally said at the memorial. He's like, autism. We figured it out. He said all that. Then he said, we have a cure. We do have a, possible cure to autism. Your kids will take it and they won't have to be, you know what I mean? It's very real. He said it. yesterday. He really did. Hold on. I'm checking the press conference because we don't want to miss this. Still nothing. It's still nothing. An empty podium. Everybody's just sitting there idly, just sitting at bated breath. Let's continue on though. That's crazy though. He said, we got the goods. Not only is it Tylenol that could be a link, but we got a substance that could get rid of it. It's interesting. Wait for it.
Secretary RFK Jr. set to unveil new findings, they say, tomorrow. And News Nation's Libby Dean live at the White House. Libby, you have some information coming directly from the White House tonight ahead of tomorrow. What are you learning?
Yes, certainly, Natasha. President Trump is calling this upcoming announcement on autism one of the most important announcements he will ever make. And it will all happen here at the White House tomorrow afternoon from the Oval Office. And we're learning some details, as you mentioned. A source tells me that President Trump plans to announce the use of Tylenol during pregnancy could be contributing to risk, and will likely advise pregnant women only to use Tylenol for high fevers. The president saying tonight that he thinks they found the answer to the causes of autism.
I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking in the Oval Office in the White House about autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore. Because obviously there was something really wrong, and we think we know what that is. I think it's going to be one of the most important news conferences I'll ever have.
According to the Wall Street Journal, there was this report from the Wall Street Journal that Kenvue CEO Kirk Perry met privately with HHS Secretary RFK Jr., aiming to prevent Tylenol from being cited as a potential cause of autism in this upcoming report that the president is going to detail from the Oval Office tomorrow. Now, in a statement, Kenvue says they have, quote, continuously evaluated the science and continue to believe there is no causal link between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and autism. So that is Kenvue's statement heading into this.
Hold on. We got to put that back. So continuously evaluated the science and continue to believe there is no causal link between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and autism. One second.
Kenvue statement heading into this. Now, the other portion of this announcement that we're anticipating, and this is big here, a source telling me that President Trump tomorrow from the Oval Office plans to announce the fact that specifically leucovorin is a potential therapy for people with autism. Now,
hold on. Let me just make sure we're not losing our minds here. Still nothing. You see it right here. I'm showing you guys. Still nothing. Okay? Still nothing. But I want you to see this too. Leucovorin. What is leucovorin? What is that exactly? Let her talk real quick.
Leucovorin, that's a vitamin-based medicine. It's not standard treatment yet just for autism. We'll see what this plays into moving forward, how leucovorin will be approached. Now, the White House also is setting expectations ahead of tomorrow's announcement, stating, quote, President Trump pledged to address America's rising rate of autism and to do so with gold standard science. The statement goes on to read, tomorrow's announcement will make historic progress on both of those commitments. So we'll see how that plays out here at the White House.
Hold on. So President Trump pledged to address America's rising rate of autism and to do so with gold standard science. They're saying that today's announcement will make historic progress on both. Still nothing. They better not be playing us.
progress on both of those commitments. So we'll see how that plays out here at the White House. Now we're expecting the Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., to also be joining the president in the Oval Office during this announcement. And the president now headed back to the White House following that event in Arizona. Natasha.
All right, Libby Dean live at the White House with that information. We appreciate it. Thank you.
What is leucovorin? What is it? I've never heard of it before. And I'm sure a lot of you have. I haven't heard of it too. But here it is. Yes, guys, we just talked about that, which is fantastic news, breaking news. Again, for those of y'all who are late to the party, we had breaking news a little bit ago. Jimmy Kimmel is back on the air starting tomorrow, okay? And I'm sure he's going to be saying all kinds of stuff tomorrow. It's going to be insane. Shoot, half the show is probably going to be an opening monologue. Watch. Now, so some of you guys are saying it's folic acid. Thank you so much. It's Dala. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Let's take a look. Let's see what this is. So Trump and his top health aides plan to link a common over-the-counter medication to autism and name other substances as a possible treatment for brain development condition or for the brain development condition. So the administration officials have expected to warn pregnant women against taking acetaminophen or also Tylenol. So let's move on. We already know about all this crap. What is leucovorin? So leucovorin is also a folic acid, is high dose. It's a high dose prescription drug. So it is now prescribed to counteract the toxic effects, chemotherapy medications such as methotrexate. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's also used as a treatment for anemia. But he gonna say, take this because it can help. I'm assuming like high doses, okay? I'm assuming high doses of this leucovorin. They're thinking that they believe high doses of this could be a treatment for autism. So more recently, some researchers have sought to study leucovorin as a possible treatment for autism. The suggestion that a single medication could counteract the effects of autism is sure to be controversial. Yes! Sorry, I didn't mean to get so excited. Autism spectrum disorder has no single known cause. And because symptoms and severity vary, there could be many causes, according to the Mayo Clinic. So we already know about the studies about 1 in 31 kids, 8-year-olds in 2022 had autism. We already know about all that, okay? What do medical studies say about leucovorin and autism? Researchers in India studied folic acid in a small group of children. One of the 39 children were administered folic acid, while a single group of 38 kids a placebo. The November 2024 study found children who received the drug had improved scores compared to the placebo group on the child autism rating scale, which is used to assess things like speech and nonverbal communication. Now, I'm wondering, how much were they consuming? Was it just a little tiny pill? Were they doing IVs of this ish? How much of a huge difference did it make? Were they suddenly say if these autistic children were nonverbal, were they suddenly verbal out of nowhere? I'm kind of curious about that, right? But researchers not involved in the study urge caution when evaluating this and other studies on leucovorin as a possible treatment for autism. The studies on leucovorin in autism so far have been very small, not replicated or have found inconsistent findings and not used the same dose. So, like I said, how much Okay, so the studies in autism so far, or leucovorin in autism so far, have been very small, not replicated, or have found inconsistent findings, and not used the same dose. So that's a big issue right there. How much of a dose? Because you realize that as soon as they say something about this leucovorin, you don't think all of these loving, doting parents that want their children to be well or help them function a little bit better in the world, if depending on where they sit on the spectrum, don't you think they're going to do everything that they can to get their paws on the leucovorin? This kind of takes me back to when when we were ivermectin and all that crap. Remember that crap? People were doing everything they could. All right, Martha, you got a good question there. And how would that affect the liver and kidneys long run? That's a good point too. Would the medication be temporary, or the medication be forever? That's a very, very damn good question. That's a damn good question too. Like I said, you realize that there are so many parents out here that, you know what I mean? Shout out to all the parents and all the love out there for all the parents that do have autistic kids. Real talk. You don't think that those parents are going to be like, wait, what? You mean wait, what? Leucovorin? And they're looking it up. They're already looking it up before they're even doing this press conference right now. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these mother lovers are on the gray market right now, trying to get their hands on leucovorin right now as we speak, before they even hear anything coming out of Trump's mouth and RFK's mouth, because they're going to go, hey, anything to have my children or child be able to function better in this world. There are plenty of parents that would love to find that cure. Help their children out just a little bit. If they can get 10%, shoot, even 1% better every day, and that could be the answer. But there's no clinical backing to this information. They're still going to take the risk. Some will. This could be very dangerous. This could very, very, very well be dangerous. But again, I digress. Still nothing. Hold on. Still nothing. Oh my God. What is going on? Let me get these super chats here though. Okay. You made his day. Thanks, my dude. Of course. Of course, Rod. Okay. River, I hope you're having a good day, man. Little man, I hope you're having a good day, little man. Real talk. Michelle Woods, thank you so much for the love. I bet Trump's advisors trying to help him find his way to the podium, but it's taking longer than expected. He knows where it is. He knows where it is better than Biden. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. He knows it better. He knows where it is. He knows exactly where that microphone is. I feel like he knows. He has this strange connection. He knows exactly where the cameras are at all time. The microphones are at all times. Okay. He ain't one to play with. All right. This is Trump we're talking about, man. Okay. He's a veteran. He's a trained veteran. Okay. Thank you so much for love. So will it cure the genetics? So that's what I'm wondering too. Right? I don't like, that's the thing. They're like, okay, leucovorin is going to be the thing, everybody. And like I said, they haven't said anything to anyone yet, but people are looking it up. I know for a fact all those parents that show up to those parades, to those autism awareness months, to wearing the purple shirts and the hashtag shirts and showing in solidarity for their kids and all that, all of them, if they caught wind about this information, they are looking this up. They are looking up leucovorin right now. And they're wondering, well, how much does my kid, can I get my hands on it? And then also, how much does he or she need to consume for it to be a successful, for it to be successful, right? Allie, thank you so much. He's desperate. Sorry, I was like desperate. Desperado. Yeah, for the Nobel Prize. Yes, he is. He most definitely is. He is trying very hard. Okay? He's like, as God is my witness, I will get that Nobel Peace Prize. But it doesn't look like that's happening right now. But he's working hard. He's working hard for it. Oh, boy. Some of y'all can't take a joke. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. We can't do jokes. See, here's the thing, though. We could bash. So what is it? We're not allowed to bash Trump, but we're allowed to, or anybody in the Trump administration, but we're allowed to bash anybody on the left. Make that make sense. Just saying. Moving on. Mia, thank you so much for the love. The devil is a lie. Proud ASD mom. Well, what's up? Yeah, like I said, this is the reason why I'm waiting for their press conference to happen. And then I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear if you believe the hype or don't believe the hype. And hey, that doesn't mean that I'm bashing anybody. Okay. There is no hate fest. Okay. It has not been a hate fest at all. We're challenging and asking questions and using our minds and thinking critically. And we're asking all the questions that we need to ask. And here's the thing. I am saying things that are very true about Trump. Okay. It's not a dig. It is not a hate bashing thing. Okay. He likes the cameras. We all know that. He likes being on the microphone. We all know that. That is not bashing. Have mercy. And if you think that's bashing, then don't watch social media. That's all I can say. Watch Fox News and just get the news from there. Seriously. Okay? We're allowed to say what we want to say here. We're allowed to have fun, poke fun sometimes, and I poke fun at everybody. Everybody. So you got a problem with that? You know, there's plenty of other channels that I'm sure they're going, the most amazing man in the world's about to be in. Tell us the new discovery that he found. Go over there. It's all good. This ain't a hate fest. I'm just saying, hey, are we sure this stuff is going to work? And see, that's the thing. You can't just sit there and say, just because he says it. If Biden said it, if Obama said it, I'd still be challenging this ish. Doesn't matter, because this could be very dangerous, y'all. Like, see, that's the thing. That's what angers me more than anything in the world. It's sad, because it's like, hey, I'm asking the same doggone questions that all of y'all are asking too. Doesn't matter if you're going, oh, Trump is the way. You're still going, wait, is that still okay to take? And how much can my kid take it? Will it actually work? Those are all things everyone's asking. That is not bashing anybody. Those are asking logical questions that everyone is asking. These are staple questions that everybody's asking on the red and on the blue. That's it. That's it. If that's bashing, then I don't know. I'm on a different timeline then. I must have hopped onto a whole different timeline. Okay? Because I make fun of Sleepy Joe. I make fun of everybody. Okay? If Biden was up here going, come on, and he's on the mic, oh, I'm going in. I'm going in. Period. Okay? Period. Grateful. Thank you so much for the love. Haven't heard one hateful word from you, Pascal. Thank you. He likes cameras. Is that hateful? He loves the microphone. Is that hateful? No. Is what he's going to say on the mic 110% correct. Is that hateful? No. That's cautious. That's being inquisitive. That's being concerned. Because there's a lot of people that I know that I love and care for and that I cherish in my life that have children that are autistic as well. I care about this more than you even know. And if this is true, fantastic. But if it's not true, this is not good. This could be a recipe for disaster. Is that hateful? No, it's not. It's asking the questions that everybody, I'm sure, is going to ask in that room too. So are all those reporters that are asking the questions in the room hateful too? I doubt it. They're reporting. They're doing journalism. Yes, that thing that apparently we're not allowed to do anymore. Journalism. But love, I got love for you. I got love for all the people who think I'm being hateful. It's called journalism, y'all. And yes, you're right. Being challenging, grateful. I'm grateful for this super chat. Real talk, okay? Yes, he can be a one-eyed monster when notoriety to someone else comes into play, though. Yeah. Yep. You ain't wrong with that, Grateful. Nightly, thank you so much for the love. But did they do a test on long-term effect? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Did they run tests? Remember, this is the thing where you have to be cautious of what's being said. This is not, I don't think this is the right time. When was it when he came up, when RFK came up and said, we have a autism pandemic going on, and we need to figure this out as soon as possible and stop this? When did he say that? That wasn't very long ago, guys. So you mean to tell me they've only done a few months worth of research and they're now going to put out to the world, here's all the proof, and Luke Overin is the answer to all of these kids' prayers? Is that enough? Is that enough time? Knightley has a good question. Is that hateful? No. It's just asking a good question. Using that brain matter. That beautiful brain. Rianne, thank you so much. Sup, P? Sup, Rianne? Yes, Kimmel has been uncanceled. Yes, indeed. I'm very excited about it, too. Because of freedom of speech. Because of freedom of speech. Because of freedom. Okay? Freedom. Freedom. Wait, hold on. 1 second, guys. Oh, that's why. Okay. Just getting it back up and running again. All right. Sorry, guys. Something got shut down. Ooh, here we go. Don't do that. Don't do that to us, man.
Hello, everyone.
Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you very much. So I've been waiting for this meeting for 20 years, actually. And it's not that everything's 100% understood or known, but I think we've made a lot of strides. Wish it was done a long time ago. Today, we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism. Horrible, horrible crisis. I want to thank the man who brought this issue to the forefront of American politics along with me. And we actually met in my office, is it like 20 years ago, Bobby? It's probably 20 years ago in New York. I was a developer, as you probably heard, and I always had very strong feelings about autism and how it happened and where it came from. And he and I don't know, the word got out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people
That is
who
Dr.
studied
Oz.
it, we think. And I say we think because I don't think they were really letting the public know what they knew. Thanks as well to the director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it, 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday. For boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000 and 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys, 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation. And the first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them, this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000, and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups, the Amish as an example, they have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that.
The Amish?
Acetaminophen.
He has a problem doing it too. Okay? Come on.
Which is basically commonly known as tylenol, during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, or if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little child, little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good instead of one visit where they pump the baby, load it up with stuff. You'll do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times. I've been so into this issue for so many years just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen. And it's artificially induced. It's not like something that when you go from all of those, healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it. And that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible. I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel, the mumps, measles, and all the 3 should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better. So let it be separate. The chicken pox is already separate because when that got mixed in, I guess they made it 4 for a while. It really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside in doing it. It's not like, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis B is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country.
I got to put up this.
The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. I mean, this was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned some pretty good things about certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better. And in some cases, maybe substantially better. Not going to be easy, but be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly I have so many friends with autistic children. It's a tough situation. Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words, and then Dr. Bhattacharya and Dr. McCary, Dr. Oz, Dr. Fink, followed by two incredible mothers that have experienced firsthand what this country is going through, what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say it right now. And, you know, the way I look at it, don't take it. Don't take it. There's no downside in not taking it. So I'd like to ask Bobby to come up and say a few words. I hope I didn't ruin his day, but that's the way I feel. I've been very strong on the subject for a long time. You know, life is common sense too. And there's a lot of common sense in this. And I wish things like this were brought up. And this group has worked so hard on it. But I'd like to be a little bit more, a little speedier in the process of a recommendation, because there's no harm in going quicker. There's absolutely no harm. At worst, there's no harm. Thank you very much, Bobby, please.
Well, bless his heart. What do you think so far? Are you believing this or no?
To meet the president's challenge, I ordered HHS to launch an unprecedented all-agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend. We have broken down the traditional silos that have long separated these agencies, and we have fast-tracked research and guidance. Historically, NIH has focused almost solely on politically safe and entirely fruitless research about the genetic drivers of autism. And that would be like studying the genetic drivers of lung cancer without looking at cigarettes. And that's what NIH has been doing for 20 years. As a result, we don't have an answer to this critical question, despite the cataclysmic impact of the epidemic on our nation's children. We are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams are currently testing multiple hypotheses with no area off limits. We promise transparency as we uncover the potential causes and treatments, and we will notify the public regularly of our progress. Today, we are announcing two important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. First, HHS will act on acetaminophen. The FDA is responding to clinical and laboratory studies that suggest a potential association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including later diagnosis for ADHD and autism. Scientists have proposed biological mechanisms linking prenatal acetaminophen exposure to altered brain development. We have also evaluated the contrary studies that show no association. Today, the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment in the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration and only when treatment is required. Furthermore, thanks to the politicization of science, the safety of acetaminophen against the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children has never been validated. Prudent medicine, therefore, suggests caution in acetaminophen use by young children, especially since strong evidence also has associated it with liver toxicity. Some studies have also found the use of acetaminophen in children can potentially prolong viral illnesses. FDA will drive new research to safeguard mothers, children, and families. In addition to a possible acetaminophen connection to autism for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers, our research has revealed that folate deficiency in a child's brain can lead to autism. We have also identified an exciting therapy that may benefit large numbers of children who suffer from autism. Peer-reviewed literature has documented that up to 60% of folate-deficient children with ASD can have improved verbal communications if given leucovorin. I have instructed NIH, FDA, and CMS to help doctors treat children appropriately. Jay will help tell that story, which started with sound science, the kind that restores faith in government. This announcement also represents a historic collaboration between NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS. We expect this to be the first of many announcements over the coming years that deliver actionable information to parents on underlying cause of autism and the potential paths for prevention and reversal. Autism is a complex disorder with multifactorial etiology. We are continuing to investigate a multiplicity of potential causes with no areas of taboo. One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be listening to these mothers instead of gaslighting and marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say that we should believe all women. But some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past. It will take time for an honest look at this topic by scientists. But I want to reassure the people in the autism community that we will be uncompromising and relentless in our search for answers. We will perform the studies that should have been performed 25 years ago. Whatever the answer is, we will tell you what we find. We are researching this issue to all 3 agencies. Jay will discuss one of our research initiatives at NIH. This model of unleashing unbiased, depoliticized, gold standard scientific research and academic freedom to deliver actionable information to prevent and reverse disease will be a model for the framework to deliver similar results for many other chronic conditions that plague Americans. Jay?
Interesting.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy, and thank you, President Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud to announce today that the NIH has launched the Autism Data Science Initiative to turbocharge autism research, devoting an additional $50 million to the cause of studying autism. Nearly 250 research teams from across the country applied, sent in their applications, and were peer-reviewed by the NIH review panels. The NIH peer reviewers chose the 13 best projects focused on root causes and therapies, with replication and validation studies to guarantee gold standard science. The studies feature a new kind of science called exposomics, where scientists consider environmental and medical factors, nutrition, events during pregnancy, in combination with biology and genetics to answer vital questions about autism. Science like this, conducted in partnership with families and physicians, is the best way to arrest and reverse the autism epidemic. Autism spectrum disorder encompasses a very wide range of symptoms, ranging from mild difficulties with social interactions to profoundly autistic children who experience severe disabilities in speech and behavior. Given this wide range of symptoms across the spectrum, it seems certain that there will be a wide range of biological contributors to explaining the cause. The great thing about the new NIH initiative on autism is that scientists will use rigorous advanced methods in causal inference, machine learning, organoids, and other fresh approaches to the problem. The sharp rise in the prevalence of autism deserves an urgent response by the scientific community. As Bobby said, the NIH has invested a lot of money to study autism over the years. but the research has not produced the answers that families and parents of autistic children deserve, and autistic children themselves deserve. For too long, it's been taboo to ask some questions for fear that scientific work might reveal a politically incorrect answer. Because of this restricted focus in scientific investigations, the answers for families have been similarly restricted, often pointing families to behavioral therapies that don't work for every kid or suggest non-modifiable genetic factors as the cause. But genetics alone can't explain such a sharp rise in autism prevalence over just a few decades, as the president said. In coming months and years, as NIH scientists learn more that can help autistic children and their families, we won't delay. Like scientists often like to do. I can say as a scientist myself, it's really tempting to delay, but but in face of a problem like this, you have to move fast. But we will not delay before telling American people about what we find, and we will win the public trust with transparency and rigor. Already, our broadened focus on autism research has pointed to 2 items that will help families prevent and treat some cases of autism. I'll leave the good news on these 2 items to my close friends and colleagues, Dr. McCary and Dr. Oz. We've been working together closely on this problem for the past 6 months, and our cooperation represents an unprecedented collaboration with Secretary Kennedy's Department of Health and Human Services and with President Trump. I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Marty McCary, Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration, who will tell you about these announcements of practical help for families with autism.
Great, thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. Mr. President, this is the start of a historic shift in medical culture. This administration is working together to ask big questions about why our nation's children are getting sick so fast. Too often, medicine is doing small little studies, giving us answers we already knew. But we've got to make a difference. You've given us a charge to identify root causes, and we're not going to stop so that we can end the suffering we are watching. And if you've seen a kid with autism, with severe autism, it's hard to watch. Kids get frustrated, they get angry, they can be crying because they want to speak and they can't speak. It's hard to watch, and it may be entirely preventable. For an epidemiologist, that child is an expanding statistic, but for a child, it can be brutal to have autism. Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks in pregnancy. We now have data we cannot ignore. There's a very large study, the Boston Birth Cohort, with researchers that have from Johns Hopkins, my former institution, and Boston University, found quote unquote consistent associations between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. And the Nurses' Health Study with researchers from Yale, Columbia, and Harvard looking at 9,000 kids found that acetaminophen use in pregnancy was associated with neurodevelopmental disorders. And 4 weeks ago, a Mount Sinai Harvard study reviewed all the existing literature and found the overwhelming body of evidence points to an association. Sure, you'll be able to find a study to the contrary. That's how science works. But to quote the dean of the Harvard School of Public Health, there is a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. We cannot wait any longer. And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless practice in medicine. I learned it in medical school and residency. Just treat all fevers, low-grade fevers, treat them with acetaminophen. Why? What are we doing? A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because a fever is a body's natural way of ridding an infection. When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely no. I'm also here to announce good news. Today, the FDA is filing a Federal Register notice to change the label on an exciting treatment called prescription leucovorin so that it can be available to children with autism. You know, autism may also be due to an autoimmune reaction to a folate receptor on the brain, not allowing that important vitamin to get into the brain cells. It's a fairly established, mature pathway. Again, we have a duty to let doctors and the public know we are going to change the label to make it available. Hundreds of thousands of kids, in my opinion, will benefit. One study found that with kids with autism and chronic folate deficiency, 2/3 of kids with autism symptoms had improvement, and some marked improvement. Mr. President, you told us to do what's medically right, to go bold, and not worry about the corporations and the lobbyists. So that's what we're here doing today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Thanks, Marty. I think you all appreciate the passion in the president's voice. We've been hearing that since the inauguration. In fact, even before the inauguration, the president was upset about what he spoke to today. And so together with Secretary Kennedy, who's made it his life's work to address some of these challenges with autism, they challenged us. In fact, they were harsher than that. They wanted no silos to break down what the NIH would do, what the FDA would do, what CMS would do. They insisted that the physician leaders bust through the clutter because their agencies had the power. If we didn't do what every other prior administration had done, which is to let people function within their siloed environments. Because of that, in historic fashion and a very accelerated manner, we have a response today to the autism crisis. It is the first of several chapters, but this is breaking news. You've heard some of it. The response to the autism crisis is going to continue to come to you under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, and the president wouldn't have it any other way, as you've heard. The FDA, based on NIH research, is approving prescription leucovorin for treatment of autistic children. Now, if you're following the script, there should be two questions that you have, two questions that should come to your mind. The first is, how will patients and parents get access to the treatment?
Here we go.
I'll tell you how. Over half of American children are covered by Medicaid and CHIP, government health insurance, over half. Therefore, because they're covered in Medicaid and CHIP, upon this label change by Marty, state Medicaid programs in partnership with CMS will cover prescription leucovorin around the country. It's yours, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription because they know your child, they know you, and they know the medication. States will also have tools to monitor its use and ensure appropriate utilization. That's important for a bunch of reasons because we want the right kids getting the right prescription medications. We believe private insurance companies will rapidly follow our lead if they have not already done so. And again, to make sure that this is safe and effective treatment, you need a physician to prescribe the medication because it's on prescription. Second big question, how are we going to collect clinical data to answer the big questions that the president's asking and the secretary insists that we offer? CMS is also issuing guidance to convene states and existing research networks to support NIH and FDA in their research efforts of prescription leucovorin, while also maintaining the privacy of all patients, all health information of our beneficiaries. Collecting real-world data, which is what many of you have been asking us to do in the community, is fast. It is life-saving, and we'll get answers based on what happens over the next few months with this approach. The aggressive approach, and it is aggressive, demanded by the president and by the secretary, have already identified risk factors and opened the door for the first FDA-recognized treatment pathway for autism. It is the first of its kind, and it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of the president and the secretary. The fivefold increased prevalence of autism over the past 25 years demands a rapid response. The average clinician, researcher, we spoke to many, thought it would take 5 years to get this data. Parents are unwilling to wait 5 years. The president is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the president and the secretary are acting today with this tri-agency move. The administration's bold actions investing in groundbreaking research follow the science. They restore trust, which has been lacking, and they will change the trajectory for millions of American families. Mr. President, God bless you for being brave. So let me introduce Dr. Fink, who's acting administrator. And after Dr. Fink, we've got some wonderful women, Jackie and Amanda. I know it's going to be tough, but if you can make some comments about this historic day, God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to speak with all of you today. As a pediatrician and mom, I'm here today to talk about what this announcement means for the millions of moms and dads who are faced with the choice of whether to take acetaminophen during pregnancy. It's hard to hear information that challenges the status quo. We are sharing this information not to confuse, but to empower parents to make the best choices when taking medications during pregnancy. We are all concerned about the rising rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are dedicated to radical transparency so that patients have the best, most up-to-date information. We are also sharing this information with our nation's doctors, and we encourage you, as always, to consult with your doctor to make the best decision for you. All too often, it's easy to think that medicines we buy without a prescription pose little to no risk for the mom or the baby. As you heard today, pregnant women who need high fever or pain reduction during pregnancy should take the lowest effective dose of acetaminophen for the shortest possible duration. Most women will not meet these indications during their pregnancies. I am encouraged by these developments today because it is another example of our commitment to the American people to leave no stone unturned in improving the health of our nation's children. Next, I'm going to turn it over to some incredible mothers who are going to share more about their stories, and we're so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and team, for all your work. This is an historic day, and I'm thankful to be here. I have a son who's 5 who is profoundly autistic, and you've probably heard if you've met one autistic child, you've met one autistic child. It's a spectrum, which I don't think the spectrum is helpful, but that's another conversation. He is an amazing little boy, a blessing from God. He's marvelous. He can count to 1,000. He knows all of his letters and the sounds they make and a word for each one. But he also has a lot of obstacles. He is nonverbal. He can say those numbers and letters, but there's no communication. Unless you've lived with profound autism, you have no idea. You have no idea. He, like you said, he will get frustrated because he can't speak. It's not even that he can't speak. Sometimes he just doesn't understand what I'm saying. He understands the word no, but he doesn't understand the why behind the no. And that's a huge part of discipline. That's the discipline. So it's very hard to discipline a child with autism. So you have these behaviors. And it's a very hopeless feeling. It's very isolating being a parent with a profound autistic child. Even just taking them over to your friend's house is something we just don't do because, again, they're going to be met with no, 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 and no understanding of why. And then there's a meltdown. And then you're in a situation where you're just helpless and you're just trying to protect your kid. So it's just better not to do it. You learn your limits, and it's been really hard. This is amazing that we're here today. And no one has been able to point to anything to say this is what caused it. And you can't point to that and say it didn't cause it. I have no idea. I'm completely open, not blaming anything, but I'm open to the discussion and the fact that there's work being done to find answers. I'm very grateful. I was already excited to vote for Mr. Trump anyway, Mr. President. But when we got word of RFK doing his work, I was ecstatic. I could not wait for this work to be done, that somebody would try to find us some answers. I'm just very grateful. I pray for my son every day and hope that he can get the help that he needs. And just thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Class action lawsuits. Class action lawsuits are coming for Tylenol. Get ready.
Hi, my name is
Get ready.
Jackie. I'm also extremely grateful for the opportunity to be here and share my son's story. My son is Eddie. He's 11. He's on the opposite end of the spectrum from what Amanda just explained. He's considered high functioning. He was not always high functioning. He was nonverbal till the age 4. We've had quite a hard time to get to the place where we are today. I am just so grateful to President Trump and the entire administration for finally listening to moms who have been crying out for help, for answers for years. I've met so many other moms with children on the spectrum in the 9 years since my son's diagnosis, and they all have very similar stories. And they've all just wanted somebody to listen, to not ridicule them or look at them like they were the crazy people. It's hard when you don't have doctors that take the time to really listen and find out when the change happened and what change happened. And it's just, I've been praying for this day for 9 years, and I'm so thankful to God for bringing the administration into our lives. And I'm speechless. This day is a day I never thought would happen. I thought that we would never have an administration that was courageous enough to look into things that no prior administration had. So I'm just here to express my gratitude, and I am looking forward to what comes from this, and hopefully we just get more answers. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So I just want to say acetaminophen is basically Tylenol, essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor.
Yeah, he said.
But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group, because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say, I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, I mean, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is
crazy.
And it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury is. You know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were rumors about both of them for a long time. But we're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted. And we think you should wait. I think you should wait till 12. I'm making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors, because when they talk about, different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense, and they have that too. They have that too, a lot. But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chickenpox. Chickenpox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot, but the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it. But they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So an MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after the baby's born. Every time the baby gets a shot, the baby gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in the situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
That's what you
When
mean.
you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you got to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I mean, I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower, and she had the most perfect child, beautiful, just perfect. And I remember this little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. One day I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was. I said, are you okay? What happened? My boy, I've lost my boy. What does that mean, your boy? My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable, I think she said 107, 108. You know, it goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. You know, we hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that you never hear about, but it goes up very high. And it's fried. They get fried. She said, I took him, he developed an unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir. He's gone. And then I saw the boy. It was so tragic to see. That was the following day. That was the following day after the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot. The kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. It can only help. And the other things I told you about, just the word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life with a lot of other things, you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. When the baby's born, they throw it at you. Here, give them a couple of Tylenol. They give them a shot. They give them a vaccine. And every time they give them a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of these babies, they're long born, and all of a sudden they're gone. And it doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR. Break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years, we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox, because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about it, other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason with this, they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it.
He said
if
that
you're
a lot.
pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And we have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, and they are so committed to this. I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And, we have something else called Favored Nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called Favored Nations. We're going to be paying what right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud in my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill. From $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends that have fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because we have a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up. Just break it up. Break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, I want to, when I leave office, I don't want to have, it's going to be the kind of number that we're hearing where it's 1 in 32 or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be, let's get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong. And I feel very certain, and I know I'll be criticized. Someday they'll look back and they'll say, well,
please, no questions.
It wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important. There's nothing more important than me. We cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us so much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done. We brought prices down. We gave you the largest tax cuts, all that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything. So we're going to save a lot of children from a tough life, really tough life. We're going to save a lot of parents from a tough life. Okay, how about a few questions? Let's just make it on this subject. This is so beyond as a subject that I'd rather not talk about, some nonsense on the economy. And I will say this, the economy is unbelievable. The stock market just hit another record high and all that stuff. This means more to me. Yeah, please.
I'm done.
I have one on your announcement, one on vaccines that's also related.
Yes.
Why do you think we haven't heard more previously about the tie to autism and acetaminophen?
Nobody knows. I don't know. Not only that, when you say it, you get attacked. I was saying something similar, not as strongly, because now facts are on our side. But I was saying it with Bobby 20 years ago, and I was attacked. I said, whoa, what was that all about? I had no idea. You get attacked. I don't know. The medical community, the drug companies, doctors. I don't know what it is. All I want to do, I don't care about being attacked. It doesn't matter to me. I believe that the numbers at the end of our term or shortly thereafter could be really
It doesn't matter to me.
phenomenal. I want it to go up just like it came down to this horrible level. 1 in 10, 1 in 12. I was told 1 in 10. I was told 1 in 12. Today I heard 1 in 31 if you add the girls and the boys together. It's crazy. And it was 1 in 10,000 and 1 in 20,000. It's not even sustainable for a country. You want to know the truth. And there are other places that don't have it. And they have things in common. And that's called medical research. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I'm curious as you look at the trend lines,
Yeah.
how much of this is the causation of acetaminophen and how much is sort of better diagnosis, doctors, researchers having a better understanding of what is on the autism spectrum?
Sure, go ahead.
That's one of the canards that has been promoted by the industry for many years, that it's changed diagnostic criteria, better recognition. But there's been study after study done of that completely debunks that. One of them by the Mind Institute at UC Davis, University of California. But also it's just common sense, because you're only seeing this in people who are under 50 years of age. If it were better recognition or diagnosis, you'd see it in 70-year-old men. I've never seen this happening in people my age. I've never seen a case of full-blown autism, and that means profound autism. I want to be very careful. Head banging, stimming, toe walking, nonverbal, non-toilet trained. I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man who looks like that. You're only seeing it in the kids. It's an epidemic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was hoping that you could clear up confusion for moms and dads across America, many of whom voted for you. There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy. And that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you clear up this confusion?
That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing. There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh, if you do this, you're going to die. There's no downside. There's no downside to going over a 4-year or a 5-year period or a 3-year period, or even if you space them out for 6 months, you space it out. There's no downside. And that's why I will say the gentlemen behind me, they have very strong views and they feel that we're right, but they'll have more research done over the next 2 months. I said, well, 2 months is a long time. A lot of people could be saved, and there's no downside to doing it. Everything I said, there's no downside to doing it. It can only be good. And I think you're going to see very good results. That's establishment stuff. And we've been reading that about a lot of things for years. And you know what's happened? We've gone from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 32 to 1 in 10. Think of it. 1 in 10 or 12 or 1 in 31. Think of it. 1 in 31 people, young kids, get autism. What is it, Jeff?
My question is about leucovorin. You mentioned that as part of your plan.
Yeah, let's get there.
That is also a chemotherapy treatment. Have you been in touch with the drug companies to
Why don't
increase
I have the
production
doctor
about
answer
that?
that?
And just, I'm going to throw in my follow-up at the same time. Dr. Oz mentioned that this will be available with CHIP, children who are on CHIP. But the big beautiful bill reduced funding for CHIP and Medicaid by $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Are you concerned that that will impact your ability to get this drug
I'll
out?
explain it to you in a second, but please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leucovorin is not a chemotherapy, but it is a vitamin given with chemotherapy sometimes. And the idea here is that the folic acid receptor in the brain is blocked by some antibody response. Might be 20, 40, 50% of kids with autism. And leucovorin will bypass that blocked receptor. And that's why so many doctors are probably seeing so much clinical improvement on kids with leucovorin.
So are you going to increase production?
Yeah, we've been in touch with the companies, and they are prepared to ramp up production. And we actually talked to them about a month ago.
It's about
And
to
on
get
your second
insane.
part of your nasty question, the number is that the great big beautiful bill, which is the greatest, I think one of the best things ever passed in the history, with the tax cuts and regulation cuts and all of the things it does. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. All of it does. It also gives $200 million, as just explained by Dr. Oz. And I'd like you to explain that to exactly what you're saying.
The Big Beautiful Bill actually increases Medicaid spending projected over the next 10 years by $200 billion. There's also a $50 billion rural health transformation fund, which will allow a lot of these programs to get in the rural parts of the country that the president and Congress are handing to governors to start distributing. Those grants have already gone out. The money will be allocated by the end of this calendar year. And I want to point out that the ability of NIH to do research that feeds and hands the ball to the FDA, which then can change labeling to allow Medicaid programs in states to fund this program, will ensure that the things that President Trump and Secretary Kennedy desire are financially affordable for the families around America.
You mentioned CHIP. That's why I asked that question. You mentioned that CHIP would fund this for children.
But most of the kids are on Medicaid, probably 43% on Medicaid, another 8-10% on CHIP. And all the programs in general are being evaluated. Most of what the One Big Beautiful Bill was seeking to do was to remove fraud, waste, and abuse. But the programs themselves should stay financially intact for the people for whom they were designed, and in this case, for children.
And the only thing we cut, so that's 200 billion positive. The only thing we cut was for fraud, waste, and abuse, of which there was a lot in this country, and nobody minds that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you said that there is no reason to give newborn babies hepatitis B vaccines. But hepatitis B can be contracted not just through sexually transmitted diseases, sometimes through needles, to open wounds. So when you say you feel, is that appropriate to be telling?
I think
the
it's
public?
absolutely appropriate. I think they should wait till they're 12 years old. Yes, please.
Mr. President, thank you all for being here. You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines. Would you like other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out, like MMRV?
What is this again?
You've been talking.
Speak up, please.
Sir. You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines.
Right, correct.
Would you like the other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out, like MMRV?
I would say yes, but that just is, for me, it's a lot of common sense involved in this. It's a process, but we're looking, but it should at least be given separately. Now, it's possible that you can reduce them and I'd give them in small doses, but it's possible maybe in that particular case, the MMR wouldn't work in small doses, but you can certainly give them as separate shots. It's been proven to be very safe when you give them in separate shots instead of mixing. So I don't think there's any reason to do that. Do you agree with it? I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving my opinion. I don't think there's any reason to do that. So it's been proven to be safe when you break them up. But MMR by itself, I've heard bad things about it for many years. Yes, please.
Is the spectrum too broad, in your opinion? For research purposes, you are dealing with a population of children who might have social boundary difficulties, and then you have children who are, going to grow up to be adults in diapers. I mean, what do you think?
We don't know how broad the spectrum is. We don't know exactly where it starts and where it ends, but we do know what we're going through. We're going through some very serious trouble, and we know autism. I mean, it could be bigger, it could be small, a little bit smaller, but the number is unacceptable. And the number, the way it's come down, because the spectrums remain the same, the number, the way it's come down is just unacceptable, meaning come down to that level of 1 in 10, 1 in 12, 1 in 31.
Mr. President, medical professionals.
Go ahead in the back.
Mr. President, this question is more directed towards Secretary Kennedy. It was talked about that we're just kind of finding out about the fact that babies are affected this way. Is there a concern that information is being suppressed right now within HHS, and could an investigation perhaps be launched seeing any more
Well, I think information has been really not given out very freely over the years, absolutely. And I think that's by drug companies and maybe doctors, but I certainly think that over the years. I think this is a different group. We have a lot of information. And that information, I mean, it's the information that we have that we're making these statements. And I'm making them out front, and I'm making them loud, and I'm making them strongly not to take Tylenol, not to take it. Just don't take it unless it's absolutely necessary. And there's not too many cases where that will be the case. And again, what's the worst? The worst is nothing can happen. It's very positive. That's a positive thing. But I don't believe I don't actually believe that's possible. I think the results are going to be amazing. I want to see amazing results by the time I leave this beautiful building. And I will consider this, I believe, with the wars, I've stopped 7 different wars. I've saved millions of lives. I've done a lot of things. This will be as important as any single thing I've done, because I know ladies, beautiful ladies just like this that are going through the same thing. And it's not easy. And I admire you for being able to do it. But I admire him too. I wish I had a face that looked like that. If I looked like him, I would have been president a long time ago.
Tylenol is widely used in other countries too. As you make this announcement, do you expect your decision may affect
I
other
hope they
countries?
follow it. Yeah. I hope they follow it. Yeah. Other countries are, sell Tylenol. Some countries don't. I mean, I hear Cuba now, again, you'll have to check this out, but I hear Cuba doesn't have it because it's very expensive and they don't have the money to have it, or they don't want to spend the money to have it. They don't have Tylenol. And I hear they have essentially no autism. So you'll have to check it out. Yeah, right.
Medical professionals have warned
No,
for
I
decades.
said, not you. You're CNN. You're fake news. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to go back to the Amish community, if I can, just for a second. I recently saw a man from Minnesota, an Amish man from Minnesota, on a podcast, and the host asked him what the rates were for like ADHD and autism, and he had no idea about ADHD, didn't know that it existed, and certainly didn't know of any cases. What are they doing?
It doesn't exist with the Amish community, and they don't take all of this junk. It doesn't exist. That tells you, doesn't that tell you? That's like certain countries where it doesn't exist and they don't take it. Would you like to make a comment about that one?
The Amish population, a very mixed group. So there's a subset that take vaccines, a subset that does not. And we know they have very low rates of chronic disease all across the board.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Should the establishment media show at least some openness to, trying to figure out what the causes of autism are?
I wish they would, yeah.
And why are they so close-minded?
Well, look, it's not only the media, in all fairness, it's some people. When you talk about vaccines, they go crazy. And, I'm a big supporter of vaccines. I got a certain vaccine approved in 9 months that would have taken from 5 to 12 years. I'm very proud of it. A lot of people think it was one of the greatest things I've done. And some people think, mostly Republicans, actually. I'll tell you, the Democrats think it was, they think Operation Warp Speed was one of the greatest things any president has done, any president. It's, we're very proud of what happened. We got hit with something that came from a place that shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. Those things take place and you're very unpleasantly surprised. But no, I'm a big believer in vaccines, the polio vaccine, big believer in vaccines. I know Bobby and you guys have it out a little bit, but he's a believer in vaccines too. But I've seen how great vaccines can be, how incredible they can be. So I'm a believer. Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, please.
You're commenting about MMR and hepatitis B, and you
Right.
said those were your suggestions, but have you spoken with Secretary Kimmel about actually making those changes?
I have. I've spoken to all the doctors about it, and doctors that are not here right now. I've spoken to many doctors about everything we're talking about. And the Tylenol has started to be spoken of over the last period of time, but we've been doing the research. A lot of what they've been speaking about comes from right here, by research done by these people. And I just say it again, don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. And don't give it to your child after your child is born. And do all those other things, little things, just spread out your visits, et cetera, on the vaccine. And I want to thank everybody. This is a very important day. Thank you very much.
Well, that was interesting. I know that it's the room is kind of split in the chat. Okay, the family chat is split right now. A lot of people are feeling some type of way about what he was saying. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to start with something positive. Okay, first and foremost, I do appreciate before you guys get at me. I do appreciate his concern or their concern and their focus on something like autism, that they're trying to figure this whole thing out. They're trying to figure this out to stop this from being a problem. All right. Now, I just want to say that first and foremost, because here's the thing. We have not heard any administration before this try to do anything about autism and try to find out what the cause or what could be the leading cause for what autism, why there's such a huge uptick in autism. Now that I said that, because it's all about the kids, let's not forget that. That's important. But the pendulum quickly swings over to the other side of this concerns me. The reason why this concerns me is that they don't have enough solid proof of the substances or the prescriptions or the vitamins or whatever the heck, the leucovorin. They have no proof positive that is fail-safe, that it is something that actually does work. You got to understand, there's going to be a lot of family, a lot of parents that are going to be super hype about this information. They are super hopeful. And there could be a potential of false hope being thrown at these families, poured into these families' ears. That's one thing for sure. Now, when it comes to all the pokes, yeah, I think all the pokes are suspect as well. But you even heard him. He said he likes these. He has no problem with vaccines. He has no problem with those things. But he did talk about, hey, we're going to be taking out magnesium. We're going to be taking out aluminum in some of these vaccines because they need to get going. We need to get rid of those things, which is wild that we even still have those kinds of things in certain pokes that we're giving to our children. That's absolutely insane as well. But nonetheless, that's something that I think needs to get out of these vaccines that we're giving to our kids. Now, here's the other thing. Is it all legitimate, hard proof evidence? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I am very concerned. I'm very concerned about the information that they're just pumping out right now without enough. It's not like they came up with a chart showing any proof. Maybe they showed charts on the side that we just didn't see on camera, but nonetheless, it's like I just feel like there's information that isn't fully backed up by science yet. Right? But yeah, I mean, we could look at this as a start, but I feel like it's a start that they should have been doing behind the scenes before they put it out to the general public. I could see them coming up and saying, don't use Tylenol. He said it. He literally circled back and said that about 6-7 times during his, when he came back and was kind of talking about it. He kind of circled back on his ramble and said it, don't use Tylenol. Then he finally clarified himself later when he said, what I mean is don't use Tylenol if you're pregnant. If you have kids, don't let your kids use the Tylenol. But if you're a grown man or if you're a grown person that doesn't have children, right, you can, I guess, use Tylenol. But don't use Tylenol if you're pregnant Or if you have young children, don't let them use that Tylenol. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I've already said it earlier, but I have a feeling there are going to be a slew of class action lawsuits going towards Tylenol now, because now there's going to be people who will believe that the reason why their child is autistic is because they took Tylenol when they were pregnant. Do you realize how bad this could get? Telling you right now, class action lawsuits are already happening right now. You already know it's literally lawyers, those cheap suit ambulance running, chasing lawyers are right now outside shooting a commercial right now saying, or were you pregnant and took Tylenol? Call me at 666-6666. I win every case. And if I don't win, you don't owe me anything. You know what I mean? It's already happening. You suffer from mesothelioma, right? Did you ever use Roundup for your yard and have cancer now? Give me a call. I'm the winningest lawyer in your neck of the woods. And if I don't win, you don't get to pay me. You see what I'm saying? Somebody out there already. Call 666-6666-WIN, right? Something like that, right? So again, I'm already seeing all the lawyers doing this right now. All of them, okay? Are you feeling like you're about to get sucked up by the rapture tomorrow? Give me a call. You know what I mean? There's a lawsuit somewhere in there. We're going to sue Jesus Christ. That's what we're going to do. Good God. You heard about sorry for the left turn. He's contagious. Did you hear about the rapture that's supposed to happen tomorrow? There's apparently a rapture that's supposed to start happening at some point. I'm sorry. And by the way, it's tomorrow in China. Did the rapture start yet? Okay. Oh, good God. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. But here's the thing. Back on Earth. We're going to bring it back down to Earth real quick. Okay? Yeah, they're going to be like 1-800-SUE Tylenol, right? Acetamin. You know what I mean? It's going to be one acetamin win. You know what I mean? Watch. Dial one acetamin. And if we don't win, you don't have to pay us. Wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. But outside of that, I appreciate that there is a concern, that they are looking into it. But I think that they jumped the gun a little bit. Okay? I'm just telling you right now. They jumped the gun. They need to make sure that they have all their stuff, all their things, all the ducks in a row first before they start pumping out this information, because it's sending out potential false hope. That's it. And then people are going to go crazy and do bad things. You don't think these parents who have profound, kids who are profoundly autistic, you don't think that they're going to be running, trying to find a way to get their hands on this stuff? Like I said, it could be a recipe for disaster. That's all I'm saying. But at the same time, the energy and the focus is appreciated. But I think they're jumping the gun, okay? Because I'm not here to knock the administration for trying to figure something out or trying to help the kids that are out here, because we're talking about our kids, y'all, okay? We're talking about the kids that are out here that have autism, that are all on the spectrum. So I appreciate the focus and the energy, but I think that this is a bit of a sloppy start. Then also at the top, on top of that, let's not forget, yes, Rez just said it. He's sitting there saying, Tylenol did this. Really now? Let's talk about this for a second. He said, hey, the Amish, You see about the Amish. They don't have any issues about autism. Do they even have the science or the technology to do so? I can stop right there. They don't even have the technology to even say, oh, that your boy right there, okay, Gwendolyn, your boy right there, Xerxes, he is on the spectrum. Are you sure they have the They don't even have technology for the most part. So how do you know? Here's the other part, though, too. Think about this. Sure, they're not using Tylenol. Sure, they're not using that type of medicine. Sure, because they're not living in the world. They live off the fat of the land, and whatever they grow, whatever they cultivate, they consume. They're not going to McDonald's. Imagine them grown up, Amish, rolling up in their little horse and buggy, trying to go and get a Big Mac and a large Diet Coke. It ain't happening because they Amish. Okay? So, of course, they're not eating that. They're not consuming the stuff that we consume. It's all the chemicals. It's all of that. We should be reverse mathing on that. Also, we don't even know what studies they have. What kind of studies they have? What kind of information do the Amish have? It's a very bold statement to sit there and say, well, the Amish don't have autistic children. Are you sure about that? You don't think that they have, I don't know, Jethro over there that's just a little, just a little different, but he's just never been diagnosed? Let's be real. Okay, that's sloppy work, in my personal opinion. Okay? Let's be real. Come on. Okay? So again, when it comes to that, there's a lot of things, okay? There's a lot of things to put into consideration before you start jumping into the whole, it's just Tylenol. A lot of things to put into consideration. We need, that's the thing. This is the reason why this man's here in the first place. Bobby. There's a reason why Bobby's here in the first place. I'm not trying to be mean to Jethro. I know he means well. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jethro. Keep being strong, Jethro. You strong. You strong. You know what I mean? But there's a reason why Bobby is there in the first place. It's to clean up the stuff, that the chemicals and the crap that's being put into our food that we're putting into our bodies. That should also be the main focus here too. Now, I'm not sitting here expecting us to go all the way back, hit the reset button, and we're all, farming and all that ourselves. No, but there's got to be a way to clean things up so that we have a better way of life, so that our kids, our future, isn't jacked up because of whatever we've been consuming over the past several decades in our lives. So again, I appreciate the energy. I appreciate what they're putting, what they're doing, but at the same time, this information, I need more information. I need more stuff to back it up. Excuse me. I need more information to back up what they're saying here, because this is a recipe for some serious problems. And if this stuff doesn't work out, if this falls flat on their face, they're in a heap load of trouble. Because you got to remember, you got two moms. You got two mamas that came up and said, my son is profoundly autistic. And then the other one said, my son is highly functional autistic. Two drastically different kids, right? On the spectrum. You don't think that's speaking to all the other moms and dads out here that are raising autistic children? Like I said, this is a very, very sensitive situation, and they need to be a little bit more forthcoming with the evidence and the information and the studies before they just start throwing this stuff out to people. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be taking this verbatim right now. And this could be very, very bad. Let me get some of these super chats here. Neon, thank you so much. He thinks we're stupid. I just think that we live in a time where, I don't know, man. People are we have selective hearing too, because they can sit there and go, now we're still in the middle of, trying to figure these things out. And somebody out there is listening to this and saying, no, what they're saying is true. It's facts. And then they're running to the internet trying to trying to get their hands on Lou Coverin or whatever it's called again. You know what I mean? Like I said, this could get very, very bad. Okay, Jake Cartier, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Amish children have autism just like any population. Cultural factors and limited healthcare leads to autism being underdiagnosed or not reported. Absolutely. See what I'm saying? So again, there's some information that they're saying out here that, it's like, you go to Cuba. They don't have Tylenol. Don't you see? They don't have autism. Are you sure about that? We're talking about Cuba. You think they're giving that information to good old America, the US of A? I doubt it. Neon, thank you so much. It appears that they are demonizing neurodivergence. No, I don't think that. I really don't think that. I mean, I get where you could be feeling that way, but I don't think that. I think that they're trying. I honestly do. Real talk. Some of y'all might be like, because somebody earlier said I'm just hate bashing the administration. I'm not. But one thing is for sure, that person or others that are watching may be surprised by what I just said. I appreciate them putting in this energy, but this energy needs to be solid. That's it. Solid with evidence. Just because you got Dr. Oz on here does not mean that it's got that stamp of approval. Just because you have two mothers that have autistic children, and I'm sure they're beautiful kids, I'm sure they're wonderful kids, does not automatically mean that what they're saying is 110% authentic and true. We got to be very careful about that. Just being real. Moving on. Neon, is it just me? Thank you so much, Neon. Is it just me, or do all of his stories seem like they come out of panels of DC Comics? Oh my God. Oh, I'm done. I mean, he was telling that story about the kid, the mother who was working at the restaurant, and how the kid, she was talking about her kid getting vaccinated, and then he had a bad reaction to it, and now he's no longer here. He didn't really go any further about like him being gone, but that was kind of like the vibe I was getting, that he was gone, like he passed on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a tragic story, but some of you guys were sitting there saying this is not real. I don't know if it's real or not, but he told the story nonetheless. Miss Cat, thank you so much for becoming a member. And just like Miss Cat, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Your boy's working hard out here in these streets, and we talk about a lot of things on this channel. I'm going to have to say this really quick. Don't forget to hit that like button, please, and thank you. All right? That would really, really mean the world to me. If we can get it to, if we can get it to 1K before the end of the show, that'd be great. And then, of course, don't forget to subscribe. We talk about a lot of things on this show, everything from true crime to pop culture to politics and everything in between. If the world is spinning off its axis, we're talking about it. Okay, we're talking about it all. So please don't forget to subscribe. And also, I may be on News Nation tonight. I may be on Banfield tonight. Just so you guys know. But I don't know for sure. But just keep an eye out, because I will most likely be on Banfield at some point tonight. Not talking about this. Talking about a completely different case. But just so you know. Okay. Vic, thank you so much for the love. Lawyers don't say Tylenol, Donnie. Tylenol. Yeah. He said a lot about don't use Tylenol. Run away from Tylenol. Don't use Tylenol. Did I say don't use Tylenol? Don't use Tylenol, right? Chunky, thank you so much for the love. Tylenol lawsuit incoming. Yes, I see that coming very soon as well. But he did clean it up near the end. He said it 15,000 times in a row, don't use Tylenol. But then he finally said, well, don't use Tylenol if you're pregnant or if you're a baby. Don't use that ish. So I'm like, okay. He clarified later, but that was after him saying it like 5 times in a row. You feel me? Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was bad. Neon, thank you so much for the love, or as the doctor said, new. Yeah. Do you want him to repeat that again? New, right? So Neon, thank you so much again. I'd like to point out that my wife's OBGYN said not to take Tylenol, okay? While she was pregnant with my son back in 2013. He didn't say anything new tonight. Ooh, snap. Snappity snap. And what's interesting, heard the same thing too. Not in 2013, but heard the same doggone thing as well. So, yeah, kiddos, don't use it if you're pregnant. Don't use it if you're pregnant. I even heard about that. Okay? Don't use it if you're pregnant. But I didn't know it's now a link to autism. That's brand new news. I just thought maybe it was something else, you know? Yeah, I got that dad proof, okay? I am dad proof, okay? So, yeah. Mrs. and Mr. Steelers, thank you so much for being a member for the past 40 months. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I'm going to pop 2 Tylenol now just because I hate people telling me what to do. Love you too. Oh, my God. You rebel. Are you pregnant, though? That's the question. Because if you are, don't do it, baby. Don't. Or actually do it, because then that makes you not want to do it. So if you're preggers, do it. But don't. But do it. You know what I mean. Moving on. Miss Cat, thank you so much for the love. I will see y'all tomorrow after the after party. I know I'm going to be there. I mean, I think a lot of us are going to be here, okay? There ain't no rapture, okay? Watch there be, God forbid, watch there be one person that passes away over the course of today and tomorrow. And that will be the person that everyone goes, he's been raptured. Watch. It'd be like Gary Busey or something crazy, some celebrity. Gary Busey, 81-year-old Gary Busey, lived a tumultuous life. But now he is up there in the hands of the Lord. And everyone's going to be like, he got raptured? Him? Wait for it. I'm telling you too, Ms. Cat. I'm telling you. Wait. Okay? It's going to be somebody and it's going to be like some big name and everyone's going to be like, he was the only one that got raptured? Why? Wait. Be like Charlie Sheen or something crazy like that. Him? You know? I'm going to feel bad if Gary Busey, I don't want him to pass away. I don't want anybody to pass away. Let me just be real, okay? I don't want anybody to pass away. I want Charlie Sheen to continue winning, you know what I mean? I want Gary Busey to continue spinning off this planet mentally. I want everybody to live on this planet, okay? I don't want anybody raptured. Real talk, but I'm just saying because we live in a very crazy, wild world. Something like that's going to happen and it's going to be like, wow, he got raptured and we all still up on this ball, on this blue ball. S-Dubs, thank you so much. Can't get diagnosis if you do not go to the doc. Abso-freaking-lutely true, 110% true. Steve Baker, Tylenol not blame, take years to study, not months. Abso-freaking-lutely. See, that's what I mean. They walk in and they're like, oh, bombshell revelation after many months, really weeks of deep diving and testing one small group of kids in India. We've realized, it's like, wait a second, no, hold up. Make sure you got it all locked up. Get it locked down. That's not a good one to use either, given what happened last term. But you know what I mean. Make sure you got all this stuff on point before you start sitting here saying, oh, some study somewhere else. That's what we got. Come on, y'all. Come on. Okay. Let's see. Miss Cat, thank you so much. Just like COVID, no numbers, no autism. Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem too. Neon, record correct. My wife could take Tylenol. I remembered improperly. Ooh, now the plot thickens. I remember we couldn't. Okay. Like I was the one taking it for the child. But you know what I'm saying. Okay. We weren't allowed. They're like, don't do it. Don't do it. Can't take that stuff. It's terrible. There was other things couldn't take as well. You know what I mean? Like a sick, etc. You know, like colds and stuff like that. Couldn't take that. Couldn't take this either. You know what I mean? Pretty bad, right? So again, like I said, I appreciate the energy, but I think the energy is too soon. And I think they need a little bit more information and more facts and more solidification in the data that they're claiming to have to present to those loving and doting parents of children with autism. And of course, those who are about to give birth or about to have children here soon. Real quick, beautiful messy ball. Thank you so much. It was a small group of children, small group of 13 handpicked kids in England that started the autism is caused by vaccine room. Oh, interesting. Okay. The doctor has since lost license. Thank you so much for that information, beautiful messy ball. And that's insane, right? And of course, I get it. You have the right to give your child the poke or not the poke. You know what I mean? Give them the vaccines or give them the medicines that they need or not, right? That is up to you if you want to do that. Now, if you don't do it, it's on you. If you do it, it's on you. Now, what Trump said is like, hey, don't do it all in one sitting. Don't do all 5 of them in one sitting. Go over time, which does make sense if you really think about it. I would be okay with that, right? If that choice was given to me and my own, I would do the same thing, right? But that's what I would naturally do because I'm just concerned and paranoid and I don't want my kids to get sick, etc. You see what I'm saying? So that's just me. That's just me personally, right? But at the same time, your child is your child. You do what you want to do. Plenty of us have lived through this life doing just fine. Getting the pokes and doing whatever we need to do, right? Now there is an uptick in autism for sure. There really, 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 really is. But at the same time, I don't think it's just Tylenol and the pokes. I just don't. I think that it's more than that. I think it's way more than that. And it's a much bigger problem than just taking Tylenol. Crystal, thank you so much for being a member for over a year. I appreciate it. Hi, Pascal. My son has autism and did take Tylenol. My OB said only I can take for my headache. I don't know. Well, you listened to your doctor. You took it only when you had a headache. Now the question is, did you take it a lot because you were having a lot of headaches or not? Right? Now I also hear like a lot of people will sit there and say like, you know, when they get pregnant, they try to be as natural as possible, right? Everything that they eat is very organic, very grass-fed, organically grown, etc. Right? I've seen a lot of people go that route, and I'm not sitting here saying that because anyone chose any route, that's the reason why, henceforth you have an autistic child. No, I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is some people have gone that route, right? But then also I've seen people who have gone that route and then the child has complications in the pregnancy or they have complications after the pregnancy, right? After birth and all that stuff. So, I mean, again, I feel like there's more to this than, like I said, just taking Tylenol, y'all. I really do. Lulu, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. So now we're talking about autism with no science. Instead of the Epstein files, you ain't wrong, baby. Let's focus on child victimization instead of children autism. You ain't wrong with that too. You ain't wrong with that too. You really aren't wrong with that. You ain't wrong. Real talk, you ain't wrong. But that's interesting, right? You got the Charlie Kirk situation, then it's the memorial, then now it's the now it's this breakthrough in autism, right? So again, I think this is very, very, very interesting. But like I said, I just don't think that there is a one fell swoop answer to this. But the thing is that if it is Tylenol, if it is 110% that, they really need to get their ducks in a row, get the studies on point, and show that proof positive it is what it is, what they're claiming it is. And then when it comes to that Lou Coverin, okay, they really need to make sure that their studies are on point, because some people are thinking that maybe they give their child a high dose of that particular vitamin, they're calling it, right? And it's going to solve their kids' problems, that their kids are suddenly not going to be profoundly autistic anymore. That is dangerous. You see what I'm saying? How much? That's the thing that they haven't answered yet. How much of this particular drug can the kid take? And what's the result? When you say he's nonverbal, does he suddenly become verbal now? Does it suddenly eradicate autism? Does it knock the kid off of the spectrum all entirely, or what? These are answers. These are questions that need to be answered as soon as possible, because now you got people frothing at the mouth for a chance to get their hands on a possible miracle drug like that Lou Coverin. I forgot how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. Turning water into wine before the rapture. Yeah, man. See what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Trying to do that big magic trick. Water into wine. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys being here and talking with me, but that is the show. Okay. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. I got to hop off here, unfortunately, guys. But anyway, please do me a favor before you head out. I mean, I'm hoping what they're talking about, I'm hoping that they're on something very hot. I hope everyone stays on them with this information, right? With their studies and all that. Because they can literally say all this, we got this breakthrough, and then nobody does any follow-up on it. No one, right? So my fingers crossed, because I got people in my world, my life, that are on the, that have autism, that are on the spectrum as well. This press conference is just as important to me as it is for everyone out here in this country. Real talk. But yeah, we got to do our own research, I guess. You ain't wrong with that. But anyway, guys, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what to do. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? Make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that join button. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. But anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll be talking soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.